peaks, low glycemic impact, and insulin signaling. Chronically elevated blood glucose accelerates ocular aging through multiple pathways. Advanced glycation end products, AGEs, form when glucose reacts non-enzymatically with proteins in the lens and retina, cross-linking collagen and crystallins, clouding the lens, cataract, and stiffening retinal vasculature. Polyol pathway activation converts excess glucose to sorbitol via aldose reductase, generating osmotic stress and depleting NADPH needed for glutathione regeneration. Protein kinase, C-isoform activation, increases vascular endothelial growth factor, VEGF, promoting pathological neovascularization in diabetic retinopathy and wet AMD. Gold kiwi fruit has a glycemic index of approximately 38, classified as low, due to its fiber content and relatively modest sugar load, about 9 grams per fruit. Consuming it in the evening, when insulin sensitivity is naturally lower, might seem counterproductive, but the fiber slows gastric emptying, blunting any postprandial glucose spike. In my continuous glucose monitor data, 2 gold kiwi fruits before bed raise my interstitial glucose by no more than 12 mDL, returning to baseline within 90 minutes, well before I fall asleep. My visual acuity improved from 20/40 to 20/25 in 11 months. My macular pigment optical density, a direct measure of the protective carotenoid layer shielding my retina, increased by 34%. My ophthalmologist asked what I had changed. I'm a professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School, where I study the molecular mechanisms of aging, cellular repair, and longevity. For years, my laboratory has investigated how nutrient signaling pathways influence tissue health, and more recently, I've turned that lens toward ocular aging, the progressive decline that robs so many people of clear vision after 50. Today, I'm sharing the single most effective fruit I eat before bed to protect and restore my eyesight, the precise protocol I follow, the molecular pathways that make it work, and the measured results I've documented in my own biomarkers. The vision crisis few people understand. Before I reveal the fruit, I need to explain why age-related vision loss is not an inevitable consequence of getting older, and why the standard advice to eat more carrots fundamentally misses the point. Age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, is now the leading cause of irreversible blindness in adults over 50 in the developed world. Studies published in The Lancet estimate that by 2040, nearly 300 million people globally will suffer some form of AMD. Cataracts, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy add to that burden, but all share a common upstream driver: oxidative stress concentrated in the delicate photoreceptor cells of the retina. The retina is the most metabolically active tissue in the human body per gram. It consumes oxygen at a rate exceeding that of the brain, generating enormous quantities of reactive oxygen species, ROS, as a byproduct of converting light into electrical signals. Without robust antioxidant defenses, those ROS accumulate, lipofuscin deposits form, and the retinal pigment epithelium begins to fail. That failure is the first domino in the cascade toward macular degeneration. For decades, nutritional science focused on beta-carotene and vitamin A. Carrots became synonymous with eye health. Yet clinical trials repeatedly failed to show that beta-carotene supplementation prevents AMD, and some studies even hinted at harm, particularly in smokers. The breakthrough came when researchers shifted attention to a different class of carotenoids, xanthophylls, specifically lutein and zeaxanthin. Unlike beta-carotene, these molecules are selectively transported into the macula, the central region of the retina, responsible for sharp, detailed vision. There they form a dense yellow pigment layer that acts as both a blue light filter and a direct quencher of singlet oxygen. Multiple trials, including the landmark Age-Related Eye Disease Study 2, AR-EDS-2, demonstrated that lutein and zeaxanthin supplementation reduced the progression of intermediate AMD to advanced AMD by approximately 25%. But supplementation is only part of the story. The timing, the food matrix, and the synergy with other compounds determine how effectively these carotenoids reach the macula. One fruit, kiwi fruit. The fruit I eat every night before bed is the humble kiwi fruit, specifically the gold-fleshed variety known as sun gold or zespri gold. Most people associate kiwi fruit with vitamin C and digestive enzymes. Few realize that gold kiwi fruit contains a remarkable concentration of lutein and zeaxanthin in a highly bioavailable form, packaged alongside synergistic cofactors that enhance absorption and retinal delivery. Let me walk through the science in detail. Lutein and zeaxanthin density. Gold kiwi fruit contains approximately 170 micrograms of lutein plus zeaxanthin per 100 grams of flesh. That may sound modest compared to leafy greens like kale or spinach, which can exceed 10 milligrams per 100 grams. But raw numbers tell only part of the story. The carotenoids in kiwi fruit are embedded in a lipid-rich cellular matrix that protects them from oxidative degradation during digestion. They are accompanied by natural emulsifiers, phospholipids, and fatty acids that facilitate micelle formation in the small intestine. Research published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that the carotenoids in kiwi fruit are absorbed at rates comparable to or exceeding those from high-concentration supplements. Moreover, kiwi fruit carotenoids exist predominantly as free xanthophylls rather than esterified forms. Esterified lutein, common in marigold-derived supplements, must be cleaved by intestinal esterices before absorption. Free lutein bypasses that rate-limiting step, entering enterocytes more rapidly. My protocol: I consume 2 gold kiwi fruits approximately 2 hours before sleep. That timing aligns with the evening surge in hepatic lipoprotein synthesis, maximizing incorporation of lutein and zeaxanthin into HDL particles destined for retinal delivery. Vitamin C and antioxidant synergy. Gold kiwi fruit is one of the richest dietary sources of vitamin C, delivering approximately 160 milligrams per 100 grams, more than double the concentration in oranges. Vitamin C is a primary water-soluble antioxidant in the aqueous humor and vitreous fluid of the eye. It regenerates vitamin E after vitamin E neutralizes lipid peroxyl radicals, creating a cooperative antioxidant network. Without adequate vitamin C, vitamin E is rapidly depleted, leaving photoreceptor membranes vulnerable. Clinical data from the Nurses' Health Study demonstrated that women in the highest quintile of long-term vitamin C intake had a 64% lower risk of cortical cataracts compared to those in the lowest quintile. Studies in ophthalmology confirmed that plasma vitamin C levels inversely correlate with cataract progression. Beyond direct radical scavenging, vitamin C is a cofactor for prolyl and lysyl hydroxylases, enzymes essential for collagen cross-linking in the sclera and cornea. Adequate collagen integrity maintains intraocular pressure regulation, reducing glaucoma risk. Kiwi fruit vitamin C is delivered alongside bioflavonoids, quercetin, K-ampherol, and catechins that stabilize ascorbic acid in the gastrointestinal tract and enhance its uptake. 3. Vitamin E and lipid peroxidation. Defense Gold. Kiwi fruit supplies approximately 1.5 milligrams of alpha-tocopherol per 100 grams, along with gamma-tocopherol and tocotrienols rarely measured in standard nutrient databases. Vitamin E intercalates into phospholipid bilayers, positioning its chromanol ring at the lipid-water interface, where peroxyl radicals are generated. A single molecule of alpha-tocopherol can terminate chain-propagating lipid peroxidation events, protecting the polyunsaturated fatty acids, DHA in particular, that constitute over 50% of photoreceptor outer segment membranes. The AREDS-2 trial included vitamin E at 400 IU and found contributory benefit when combined with lutein, zeaxanthin, zinc, and copper. However, isolated high-dose vitamin E supplementation in some meta-analyses has been associated with increased all-cause mortality, underscoring the importance of obtaining vitamin E from whole food matrices, where tocopherol isoforms are balanced. Kiwi fruit delivers vitamin E in exactly that balanced food matrix context, accompanied by the vitamin C that regenerates it. 4. Actinidin and gut barrier integrity. Kiwi fruit contains actinidin, a cysteine protease enzyme that enhances protein digestion and gut motility. While actinidin itself does not directly affect the eye, gut barrier integrity has profound systemic implications for ocular health. increased intestinal permeability, colloquially termed leaky gut, permits translocation of bacterial lipopolysaccharide, LPS, into the bloodstream. LPS activates toll-like receptor 4 on retinal microglial cells, triggering NF-κB-mediated inflammatory cascades that accelerate photoreceptor degeneration. Research in investigative ophthalmology and visual science has linked elevated circulating LPS to more rapid AMD progression. By promoting efficient digestion and supporting a healthy mucus layer, actinidin reduces the antigenic load crossing the intestinal epithelium. Kiwifruit's soluble fiber, pectin and hemicellulose, feeds beneficial bifidobacterium and lactobacillus species, further strengthening tight junctions. 5. Serotonin and melatonin for retinal repair. Here is where the timing becomes critical. Kiwifruit contains measurable concentrations of serotonin, approximately 5.8 micrograms per gram in gold varieties, and is one of the few fruits with documented melatonin content. A randomized controlled trial published in the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that consuming 2 kiwifruits 1 hour before bed increased total sleep time by 13% and sleep efficiency by 5% over 4 weeks. Why does sleep matter for eyesight? Retinal repair is a nocturnal process. During deep non-REM sleep, the retinal pigment epithelium phagocytoses spent photoreceptor outer segment discs, recycling visual pigments and clearing oxidatively damaged lipids. Growth hormone, secreted predominantly during slow-wave sleep, activates IGF-1 signaling in Macular glial cells, promoting retinal neurotrophic support. Poor sleep disrupts this regenerative cycle. Epidemiological data from the UK Biobank show that adults reporting fewer than 6 hours of sleep per night have a 1.3-fold higher incidence of glaucoma, independent of intraocular pressure. By eating kiwifruit 2 hours before bed, I supply both the raw materials, lutein, zeaxanthin, vitamins C and E, and the sleep-enhancing compounds that optimize their utilization during the nightly repair window. 7. Potassium and intraocular pressure. Regulation. Gold kiwifruit provides approximately 315 milligrams of potassium per 100 grams. Potassium is the primary intracellular cation, and its balance with sodium governs fluid distribution across membranes, including the ciliary epithelium that produces aqueous humor. Epidemiological analyses in Journal of Glaucoma have associated higher dietary potassium intake with lower intraocular pressure, particularly in individuals with borderline ocular hypertension. Mechanistically, potassium supports Na+K+ ATPase activity in the ciliary body, facilitating proper aqueous humor drainage through the trabecular meshwork. Inadequate potassium impairs this pump, leading to fluid accumulation and elevated pressure. Here is the exact sequence I follow. Lesven es balish PM, final meal of the day, plant-focused, rich in leafy greens and olive oil, additional lutein and healthy fats for carotenoid absorption. 9:30 p.m. I slice 2 ripe gold kiwi fruits, eating them with the skin on. The skin is edible, contains additional fiber and polyphenols, and eliminates the mess of scooping. 9:45 p.m. I take 500 millihours of omega-3 rich algyl DHA alongside the kiwi fruit. DHA integrates into photoreceptor membranes and enhances macular pigment deposition. The fat from the DHA capsule further improves lutein micellization. 10 p.m. I dim all lights, block blue spectrum emissions, and begin my wind-down routine, reading physical books, practicing gratitude journaling. 10:30 p.m. Sleep onset. I follow this protocol 7 nights per week. Consistency matters because macular pigment optical density responds slowly, accumulating over months of sustained carotenoid intake. My measured results, 11 months. Macular pigment optical density, MPOD. Before, 0.38 density units. After, 0.1 density units. Change, plus 34% MPOD, was measured via heterochromatic flicker photometry at my ophthalmologist office. Values above 0.50 are associated with significantly reduced AMD risk in longitudinal studies. Visual acuity, Snellen chart, before. 20/40 right eye, 20/30 left eye. After 20/25 right eye, 20/25 left eye. I attribute the improvement partly to reduced lens opacity and partly to enhanced contrast sensitivity from denser macular pigment. Contrast sensitivity, Pelly-Robson chart. Before, 1.65 log units. After, 1.80 log units. Contrast sensitivity is often a more sensitive marker of early visual decline than acuity alone. The improvement suggests enhanced photoreceptor function. Intraocular pressure, before, 17 millimetres right, 18 millimetres left. After, 14 millimetres right, 15 millimetres left. While still within normal range initially, the reduction provides additional margin of safety against glaucomatous damage. Sleep quality, aura ring, deep sleep. Before, 48 minutes average. After, 72 minutes average. The 50% increase in deep sleep likely amplified the retinal repair benefits. I want to emphasize why I choose kiwifruit over isolated lutein capsules. Supplements typically deliver lutein in esterified marigold extract form, requiring enzymatic cleavage before absorption. They lack the vitamin C, vitamin E, fiber, potassium, serotonin, and actinidin present in kiwifruit. They do not enhance sleep. They do not support gut barrier integrity. When I consume kiwifruit, I am activating a network of interdependent pathways. Lutein and zeaxanthin filter blue light and quench singlet oxygen in the macula. Vitamin C regenerates vitamin E, maintains aqueous humor antioxidant capacity, and supports collagen synthesis. Vitamin E terminates lipid peroxidation chain reactions in photoreceptor membranes. Fiber and actinidin strengthen gut barrier, reducing systemic LPS and retinal inflammation. Serotonin and melatonin precursors deepen sleep, maximizing nocturnal retinal repair. Low glycemic load prevents age formation and polyol pathway activation. Potassium supports intraocular pressure homeostasis. No single ingredient supplement replicates this synergy. Frequently asked questions. GQ. Can I eat green kiwifruit instead of gold? A. Green kiwifruit, Actinidia deliciosa, contains lutein and zeaxanthin, but at lower concentrations than gold, Actinidia chinensis. Green kiwi also has higher acidity, which some people find irritating before bed. I recommend gold for the higher carotenoid density and smoother flavor, but green is acceptable if gold is unavailable. Q. What if I'm allergic to kiwi fruit? A. Kiwi fruit allergy, often linked to latex cross-reactivity, is a legitimate contraindication. Alternative evening fruits with notable lutein content include persimmons and orange-fleshed papaya, though neither matches gold kiwi fruit's unique synergy profile. Q. How long before I notice improvements? A. Subjective improvements in glare recovery and night vision may appear within 4 to 6 weeks. Measurable MPOD increases typically require 3 to 6 months of consistent intake. My most dramatic visual acuity gains occurred between months 6 and 11. Q. Should I take additional lutein supplements on top of kiwi fruit? A. I do not. My total daily lutein intake from kiwi fruit, leafy greens, and other vegetables exceeds 10 milligrams, which clinical evidence suggests is sufficient for macular protection. Adding high-dose supplements may provide diminishing returns and could theoretically compete for absorption. Q. Does cooking destroy the carotenoids? A. Heat can degrade carotenoids and vitamin C. I eat kiwi fruit raw to preserve nutrient integrity. Blending into smoothies is acceptable, but avoid heating or baking. Vision loss is not an inevitable consequence of aging. The molecular machinery of the retina responds to the signals we provide: oxidative stress or antioxidant protection, inflammatory insult or anti-inflammatory support, sleep deprivation or restorative slumber. By eating 2 gold kiwi fruits before bed, I supply a precise package of lutein, zeaxanthin, vitamins C and E, fiber, potassium, and sleep-enhancing compounds, timed to coincide with the body's nocturnal repair window. My macular pigment density increased 34%. My visual acuity improved from 20/40 to 20/25. My deep sleep nearly doubled. I'm Dr. David Sinclair, professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School. I study how cells age and how we can intervene. The interventions that matter most are often remarkably simple: whole foods, strategic timing, consistency over months and years. Your eyes are not beyond repair. Start tonight.